All right. Well, the Brits are now mourning the death of 96-year-old Queen Elizabeth, who passed away yesterday afternoon, completing the longest reign of any British monarch in history, 70 years, starting in 1952, when she was just 25 years old. And joining us now, live to discuss, our good friend from across the pond, royal expert and founder of the British Monarchists Society, Thomas Mace-Archer-Mills. Thomas, thank you so much for being with us. Thomas, Americans have had a hard time understanding the significance of this monarch and what it means as we go forward to what happens next. We have, I guess, King Charles happening as we speak. Give us a perspective, this perspective from your side of things, from the way the Brits see it.
Good morning, Dr. Gina, and it's lovely to be back with you and all your viewers. Another 6 hours and I will be up 48 hours, but this is something that is history in the making. We have had 7 decades of a woman on the throne in the top spot, not only in this country, but in the 15 realms and the 54 nations of the Commonwealth that she built. This is not just one country losing its head of state. This is 2.6 billion people of the world that woke up with a queen and went to bed with a king. So it is quite shocking. We know that the queen was frail. We knew that her time was coming to pass. But when someone's been there so long and has given such great duty and service and care to her people, she's the only sovereign that 95% of this country has ever known. So when that's just taken away from you at random, it's a lot to cope with. The government changes. It was Her Majesty's government. It is now His Majesty's government. But broadcasts will change. Pubs will close, certain theatres will close. We are now in royal mourning here, which will last 7 days after the funeral, which will be in 10 days' time. And when we heard that London Bridge is down, which was the military code for the Queen has died, all of the funeral preparations are therefore enacted, put into motion. So there's a lot more that's happening here than what would happen, say, if a president were to die. It, of course, affects everyone in the country. But when the British sovereign dies, it affects the world.
Yeah, it is so just foreign, and not to be trite, to the American psyche. But one of the things I think Americans are very worried about are the political ramifications. We have our son, Prince Charles, now King Charles III. He automatically will take the throne now, although his coronation, as you mentioned, may not take place for several months. But the differences between Charles and his mother are being noted, and one of those was when the funeral announcement came out about her from him. It felt as though he was going to say, it looked as though he was going to say that something about, that God consoles his heart over the loss of his mother that was so beloved by the British people. But instead, he said that the well wishes of people were what was consoling him. And then so it's been rumored in American media that Charles is perhaps not as much of an observant Christian as the Queen. Can you comment on this?
Yeah, that is absolutely wrong, Dr. Gina. He was born into the Church of England, the Anglican faith, and just like his mother, a very devout Christian. And he did say in his speech this evening that he will be defender of the faith, that it is that sort of upbringing that helped him be who he is. It helped his mother be who she was. And he will continue that. He did make a statement that said how important faith was in the country. So there's a lot that's at work here, because he is now the head of the faith. He is head of the Church of England, which there is a struggle because the United Kingdom is such a multicultural, multi-faith community that how does someone who is historically very WASP, if you will, in American terms, how do you look up to a sovereign who is only going to represent one faith when a majority of subjects are very different faiths. So he does have to tread lightly, but he did say in his words that it is his Christian faith that will get him through, along with the well wishes of the British people. He's always been a political person, but he's also said, I'm not stupid. I know when I'm sovereign, I can't be political, I have to be neutral. And he reiterated that again today, Dr. Gina, by saying that he can no longer devote and give as much as himself to us as he has, because the role has changed. And we saw a lot of change here today in the royal family. We saw we saw all of his Scottish titles as Prince of Wales given to William and Catherine, who were subsequently made not only the Duke and Duchess of Cornwall, but the Prince and Princess of Wales. Very important. So he, as in the King, is really making changes that a lot of us said, well, maybe it's too early to do all of this. But he has an agenda. He wants to make sure there's continuity. He wants to show that there's not a lot of change from what we knew 2 days ago as to what we're receiving and processing now. Monarchs come and go, Dr. Gina. But the British...
Yeah, and we'll just hope that our relationship remains as strong as allies under this monarchy as it did under Queen Elizabeth. But our condolences to your country, and thank you so much for being with us. I'm so sorry we're completely out of time. Thomas Mace-Archer-Mills, founder of the British Monarchists Society, thank you for being with us. Come back soon. Coming up, we're going to